Hey everybody, this is the Overpass Live. My name is Eric and I make apps. I hope you guys can see me okay and you can hear me okay. So please let me know if you can hear me, because there's that one time where I was just talking away and nobody could hear anything I was saying, and that was kind of embarrassing. So let me know if you guys can hear me and see me all right. Just want to say hello to, actually, oh my god, what did I do with my coffee? I'm back. Don't look at the messy table back there with my lunch on it. All right, so hey everybody, how's it going? Azimuth, how's it going? Highlights time, hello. Samil, hey, how's it going? CH Development, hi all. Fist 007, hey, how's it going? Mega Man's here. Hussein Gokus is here. Matthew Harris, Matthew, thank you very much for the link you sent earlier. I want to talk about that a little bit today. Spanky. Wow, just got out of bed. Who, me? Just got out of bed? No, all right. But to be honest with you, Spanky, I did have a little nap just right before. You know, because I get up so early sometimes, especially on a Friday afternoon. I think, oh, it's just flagging away. I thought I'll just have like 10-minute nap. So, and there's no comfortable chairs in this office. So, but I'm alone in the office today, so I was able to just sit down and have a nap. It wasn't so bad. Flighter 1990, hey, how's it going? Cool, you guys can hear me. Good, fantastic. Highlights time. Great. Everyone can see me. Cord Funk, hey, how's it going? You left a really good comment today. I wanted to respond to that later on. El Cyro 187, hey, how's it going? And Hamza, hello, man. Hey, man. Busted. So, there's been a lot of, you know what, this week has been a difficult week for me. There's just been a lot of stuff going on, and which I won't go into too much. I think I have a video on it coming up in a couple of days, but it's been a hectic week. But there's been a lot of really, just today I've gotten a lot of really good emails and messages, and I wanted to talk about some of them because they're really quite surprising here. So I want to share my screen here. I just want to get you guys' opinion on this stuff really quick because we don't have any questions yet, and it's have a look over at my screen. So if you're not part of our Facebook group, it's Entrepreneurial Devs at the Overpass. It's a small group, but it's growing, and I'm trying to contribute more to it. I need to get more time, but it's more for the community than that. But Vinicius Ferguson put this Medium article on there, which is about Google. Google completely terminated our new business via Google Play developer account. Now, this is something, it was a very interesting read because I've been hearing so much lately. I mean, I get contacted by so many people through the YouTube channel saying, Eric, my developer account is suspended. What do I do? My developer, and from people who they say there's no explanation, there's nothing. And one of my big fears is that's going to happen to me. I don't have any idea why it would happen, but it seems like a lot of the people who have this don't. And a lot of times when I hear this, part of me thinks, I wonder if they've done something that's wrong and they didn't know it, or if they've done something that's wrong and they don't want to admit it, or maybe something else. But this story here on Medium by Mark Dodson is, it's really interesting because it sounds like they did nothing wrong, and it makes me start to rethink all the other ones because I'm like, it's a scary proposition, this whole policy of just suspending accounts without giving any reason. And like I said, I don't want to be tempting fate by talking about it because I don't want mine to be suspended for any reason. But it is a scary proposition. So anyway, if you have a chance to read it, it's really good. I think they're trying to get some momentum and some people behind it and back it and share it, which is about this guy. Him and his wife had done this app, and they went with a development company, and they spent like $25,000 on it or something like that, like quite a lot. They set up all the social media. They were doing everything they were supposed to do, get everything set up, and then right as they released it, the Google Play app account was terminated. And they said it wasn't because of their account, but because it was an associated account. So they had an associated account with it, and they think that's what it was. And they don't know which associated account, but for some reason they're doing it. So, and it's all this, all the emails they're getting, going back and forth, and if you've gotten an email from Google Play, you know what this is like. I mean, I've gotten app suspensions before where I've had to go through and appeal those, and I've had AdMob stopped or whatever. Those emails are not very user friendly, and for me, I have to appeal a couple times before they actually tell me what the issue is. And there was that one time last year where my biggest app, Ear Agent, was suspended, and I appealed it, and they denied the appeal, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to go get a job or something. And then finally I went and reread it again, and I found one little line in it, and then I appealed it a second time, and I said, okay, if this is the reason why, I'm gonna make this change, whatever. And then they did it on the second appeal. They did turn it back on, but it was like, it was scary, and the fact that it just goes so quickly is scary. I've got 2 apps that have ads suspended on them, not app suspensions, just the ads have been stopped because they say they're overlaying certain buttons, and I need to go in there and fix those. They don't make a lot of money anyway, so it's one of these things where an app suspension is serious. An ad suspension is serious if it's making a lot of money. So like when I do get an ad suspension, that is, but most of the time it's not, as long as you're not self-clicking, you're not doing anything that violates the policy. If it's something like it's popping up at the wrong time where they think it might be resulting in accidental clicks, then they will suspend it. And I think my suspicion on that is that they're probably doing they probably have an algorithm that checks, they know an average of what the clickable rate should be for a specific ad, and they probably have all kinds of algorithms that go through and do that. That's why I don't understand why people would do self-clicking. And I think a lot of people get in trouble for it accidentally. But the article here is to appeal to Google Play, the automatic suspension policies, how unjust they are. So it's a very interesting article, very scary article for those of us who make money through this medium. I think I'm not going to grant any more developers access to my Play account, just in case. So if you have a chance, you might want to have a look at that. It's really good. So thank you very much. Sorry, Vinicius for that. And the other one was Matthew Harris, who's here. He sent through this earlier today, and he said this one about progressive web apps going to be available for Google Play, coming soon. Google Play, which we were just talking about, may suspend you, but I mean, you put progressive web apps on there. And I think the problem with Google Play, I don't think they're bad, because if you talk to anybody at Google, which you do, they're good people. They want to have a good developer ecosystem, but I think they have so much going in there that they can't have enough people to manually check these things, although they should have a better appeal process. I think that's really what it is. Like my apps, I mean, it might get suspended for whatever reason, and it might be a mistake. Maybe somebody's done something or whatever, but that would be it. Oh, the other thing that happened this week is, how every so often I would like to show you guys how I would type in spy and my app would come in first or second. Let me show you this. This is kind of bothering me a little bit, but not so much. But if I go to, so I removed the word spy from my app ages ago, and it still was ranking, and it still ranks. But if I type in spy now, I actually have, and this just is starting to get to me where I'm thinking, oh, should I do anything about this, or just let him have it, because it's it's been around so long. I'm now ranking 4th for that keyword. When I talk about the my stats going down, I'm now ranking 4th, and one of the copycats is outranking me on that keyword. So I was thinking, do I want to just keep going through and doing that? Because I'm not using that keyword anymore. I've removed it from everything. It's all over that. So anyway, one of those things to look out for. I mean, all the different ones. But it's nice to think that I started this trend, I guess. So there's that. So anyway, so yeah, check out the group. So let's go through and answer some questions here. I just wanted to go through those articles because I thought those were really good. Thank you, Matthew and Vinicius, for sending those through, because, I mean, well, the Google Play one was really scary. Well, they're both Google Play ones, but let's see. Where did I leave off? Haseyam Sosi says, hi, I am new here. Been watching you since 2 months. Cool. Welcome. El Cyro 187 says, what happened to last week's live stream? Okay, this is what happened. I was planning all day to do it. I was all ready and everything, and we had a lot of snow coming down. But at first, I got into the office fine, and not a lot of people came into the office. And I went out at lunchtime just to go get like a sandwich, because there's no place to eat around here. So I got in the car, my fancy Mustang, and I kept getting stuck everywhere. I went to like a little shopping center nearby and got myself a sandwich, went into the car, and just tires spinning. You know, people had to get out and push me, and I'm sure there's people out there who goes, "Oh, look at the guy with his fancy car, can't even drive in snow." And it was just, I was constantly just getting. And by the time I thought, do I want to go back to the office and just keep getting stuck again and again and again? And I thought, I'm just gonna go home. So I canceled the live stream, and I hate to cancel the live stream because, you know, we did a video about persistence earlier, and I get cancel a live stream because of snow. Now, if you live someplace where it snows regularly, the amount of snow that stopped me from doing this, you would be like, "My God, Eric, that's ridiculous." But it was just like I don't have snow tires. I don't have, I just kept getting stuck. There was problems all over the place. They don't really have snow plows that go around all the time like they do in other places. Just don't have the infrastructure for it. So that's why I canceled it last week. Sorry about that. Let's see. Samil says, any Python developers? Yeah, are there any Python developers? WWE World says, I have a cute smile. Thank you. Billy, hey, how's it going? Adam Major. Hey, Adam Major, you have the coolest name. Let's see. Flighter1990 says, Eric, are you ready for Google Play 64-bit requirement? I think I am. So a lot of the apps that I'm using, we're using frameworks. I mean, so just by going up to, just by compiling it recently, I wouldn't imagine, I can't see how anything should have to change for the 64-bit requirement if you've published your app in the last year, right? I mean, so I was using Corona SDK for a lot of stuff so that they compile it on their side, so a lot of our games, and I have gone through and redone a lot of them so we can do the 64-bit requirement because iOS started requiring that, I think, last year. I think it's been required for a long time on iOS, so I went through and redid all those, updated the SDKs and everything like that. I'm pretty sure Ionic is all up to date. I'm trying to think if I have any apps. Actually, I do have a few apps that are old. They're like old, and even the source code, I would need to update it. So those will probably just fall off the wayside. But I'm not too worried about it. I think I need to go through and have a cull of my apps and think, this one, I don't care about this one anymore. Might as well remove it. But the thing is, just because it's on the App Store, people aren't downloading it, but they might find it. Or on the Play Store rather. So I might as well just keep it there. The App Store is a different thing. App Store is like they won't accept anything. You have too many apps, you get the 403 guideline error. 403, yeah, 4.3. Sorry. I'm thinking about HTML status codes. The 4.3 guideline error on Apple. So I've removed a lot of my Apple ones, but I do think we talk about Google Play being too crowded, and that's a lot of it because people like me who looking at what's the downside of removing an app. And this is one of the things, I think Google Play, rather than just suspending things or whatever, they should just say, all right, you can have, I mean, I know this sounds terrible. For those of us who have a lot of apps, it would be tight, but they say, okay, you can only have 10 apps, right? You only have 10 apps on your developer account, right? You can't do one a day. You can't have millions. You just have to have 10. So you have to be really choosy about what you do. You have to find a market niche, all that kind of stuff, because otherwise you're just wasting one of your few slots, or maybe even 5, but not 1, because that's ridiculous. So, but I do think they need to do something about that. Let's see. Get the game dev guy. Hey, cool. You make a live video. Yeah, I do. Thanks. Hey, game dev guy. Thanks. €2. Thank you very much. Serge. Oh, I lost it. Says hi. Serge says, Eric, what do you think about feature ratings? I have an app average rating 4.8, yet these feature ratings are all 3.2. When we say feature rating, I mean this. All right. Serge, this sounds like something I should know the answer to. When you talk about feature ratings, do you mean like just the ratings, like the Google Play ratings, or do they do it per feature? Because I'm not aware of any feature ratings, unless it's something new and I've completely not been paying attention. Let me know, guys, if there's something new out there, or if I've got it wrong here, Serge. Billy says Google could be really cruel. Once you're banned for life. Yeah, we've talked about this before. Apple, I did a consultation earlier this week with somebody who's having real trouble with Apple getting their app approved. So I gave some suggestions on way they could get it past the 4.3, which is it's just unjustly giving a 4.3 error. And they're like, Apple can also be very difficult to respond to, but you can at least get them on the phone if you need to. Although it doesn't really help because they don't really change their mind. At least they haven't in my case. So I've had like a lot of trouble with Apple, but with Google, the fact that it's just take everything away is, I mean, that's such a, it's like, it's like mom and dad. With mom, you see what you can get away with, but sometimes she says no, and with dad, he just loses it and takes away everything. So, but most of the time he lets everything pass. So, I don't know what it's like in your guys' house, but let's see. Matthew says, do what you can to rank for spy. Yeah, I would do what I would do to rank for spy, but I specifically removed spy from all the title, from the descriptions. I think it's in the description once. And the reason I removed it was because of the guidelines, or the Google Play guidelines, saying you can't feature the word spy if you have analytics in it. So that's why I changed it to ear agent rather than ear spy. Ear spy makes sense. It's like I spy with my little eye. It's ear spy, right? It makes sense. It's a spy thing, right? You have the ear, right? It worked on so many different levels, and ear agent sounds like a medicine that you put on your ear. But then I changed it thinking everyone's going to have to change it now, and apparently they don't. So, but yeah. Let's see. Couldn't you just add formerly known as ear spy in your description or something like that, just to level up the playing field? Devo UK. Actually, that's not a bad idea. I'm gonna write that. Devo, thank you very much. God, you know what? I don't know why that didn't even occur to me. I think I did say it was previously called ear spy. I think that is in there actually, but I could put that a little bit higher up and try to rank a little bit better for that. Let's see. Hey, some Susie says, how much does the ear spy makes you in ads and in-app purchases? I talked about that a lot already. I recently, I got an email from somebody this week too. By the way, thanks everybody who emails. I'm sorry if I don't always respond, but I'm blanking on the name. I'm sorry, but somebody told me how much they're charging for their app. So I raised the prices on in-app purchases for ear spy this week, just to measure what it's like. I've done a video about this. Always play around your prices, lower them, raise them, all that kind of stuff. But it's been like a year and a half since I've done anything on it. So I'm raising that to see if it does it. If it's less purchases but more money, then it's better, and finding that thing over the next few days. But I don't. Hey Sam, I have done lots of videos about my revenue. Most of it is through the ear spy, but every time I say that, people think they could just go out there and copy it like that guy over there, and it's not all that, right? The other apps bring in revenue too. So and I think every time I talk about specifically one app, like somebody said, hey, you have an app to learn Bengali. I speak Bengali. How much does that app make? I'm like, I'm not going to tell you, because then you'll go out and make it, and then you'll make that money. Or if I tell you it's not worth doing, then you won't do it. So I was like, yeah, you know what? You have to buy in. You have to buy in by making it yourself. So, so I am trying to be very open, but I don't want to give too granular. Although I'm pretty sure I have done in the past. I know I have done in the past. I know I've done videos like in the first year where I just showed my Google Play console. This is how much money he's making. This is how much he's doing there. So LearnPire, cool name. Hi Eric, Narendra from India, about to start my journey towards app development, and I'm learning Java and ADS operation. Cool. ADS. Android Development System, maybe? God, so this is another thing that happened this week. We had somebody come into the office to talk about hiring an apprentice, which I'm not sure we'll do or not. But she had more acronyms than developers have. She was like throwing out all these acronyms. I'm trying to follow, like, what does that stand for? What does that stand for? What is that for? And as developers, we're constantly doing that. The amount of times I talk about an API, in a conversation with a client, and I throw it in there several times, thinking we all know what an API is. An API, that's like practically everybody knows what that is, but they don't. They're like API, API. So yeah, we don't always get that, or PWA. There's all these acronyms we use, but she was using a lot of them. So I don't know what ADS is. LearnPire, but if you let me know. Elidor Verossi says it's harder to use Redis server with Java or .NET, or maybe the same. Is it harder? Is that a question? I don't think it would be, because Redis is a server technology, right? You should have, as long as you have a plugin to use it. I think both of them should be able to do it. Most of the time when I've done .NET, I've done it. I know that Java works well with Redis. Node.js does, but C# mostly I used SQL Server as a backend, and so a little bit of MySQL Server in the early days. But I assume they would. I would assume they would work both the same, as long as you're running on the right server. Because because Redis does want to support all those different platforms, but I could be wrong. So I guess I don't know. That was what I should have said to begin with. Fist007 says, what's about the PHP thingy we could be seeing in today's video now on the whiteboard in the back? Oh, yeah, you shouldn't be seeing that. So, yeah. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. That's just not. I was doing a diagram the other day just to show. So some developers were having some trouble with. A lot of times when the developers come to me, they go, "It's not connecting. We think the database password is wrong." I said, "No, the database password is not wrong. Maybe we have a firewall issue." So a lot of times in software, when you have a firewall issue or an IP restriction issue, a lot of times it takes a little while to track that down. And they were convinced it was the wrong password. It's like, no, it's the right password. I go onto the box, I log in. It was a MySQL thing. So I log into the box, I can see it. And I said, well, so I have to show the architecture. So, okay, there's the MySQL server, the RDS server over here. There's a PHP application server. There's the app. There's the database, whatever. It's possible. And I have to talk about where the breakdown is happening. So I say, is it going from here to here? Is it going from there? And it just helps to have a diagram there. So I'm always doing that. So that's what that is. It's a client project that we've been working on. And typically when we start something, it's something we took over. So typically I don't like PHP, and I know a lot of people really do, right? It's like I think I've seen so much bad PHP that it's jaded me towards it. But then every so often you'll see like really good PHP, and you got all those like professional PHP developers who know how to do things properly. And then, but it's my experience in the past that I don't like PHP. But I mean, Facebook is written on it. Lots of mainstream platforms are done on it. It's a scalable, flexible thing. But I prefer Node.js myself. I prefer Node.js just because I like the cleanliness. Actually, I like the cleanliness of JavaScript, which is actually, I can't believe I was saying that, because I remember having callback hell. But I like just having the one language on the client and on the server and everything like that. So when we can do that, I've never been much into TypeScript myself. But Mega Man says, "Hi Eric, have you had the bad behavior email from Google warning that the crash rate of your apps is above 1.09% if you have noticed any declines or downloads?" Strangely, Rodrigo sent his. Sorry, I hope you don't mind if I say this, Rodrigo, but he got one, and he was asking me if I got one. And I didn't get the email. I looked at it, and I've been watching those stats, and I've been going through it because it used to like exceed a lot of them on EarAge. EarAge is the one I'm really concerned about. So I did go through and look at them, and they were actually below the thresholds. I was actually surprised, because it's hard with Android, especially when you've got all these different platforms out there. Because a lot of times when I was getting crashes and ANRs, or application not respondings, I was getting them on specific like Samsung versions. Like it was like 4.2. It was Android 4.2.2 Samsung Lenovo devices or something. No, Lenovo, not Samsung. Lenovo 4.2. And I go through, and then it was like looking at all the crash reports and trying to figure out what's the same about these? Why is it crashing there? That doesn't make any sense. I'll put a try catch. That didn't do anything. I try all this kind of stuff, and then finally I figured it was that, and then I just went through and disabled it. But it's always that's the hard bit. It's trying to find those little things there. So. But I nearly released a new version this week after seeing somebody outranking me on there, thinking maybe I'll get a new version out there. But I just did a release about a month ago. So, but But no, I have not got that email. How many of you guys have got that email? Just put it in the comments here. Rick Calvert. Hey, Rick, how's it going? Apple suspended my account and initiated an investigation into my account yesterday. I'm at risk of being banned. From Apple? Apple's suspended your account? Not a nice feeling. Suspension was initiated after a few Sprite Kit game of mine was rejected. I'm not worried as I don't involve myself in fraudulent activity, but it's extremely frustrating. I'll bet. Can't upload new builds until their investigation is complete. Lesson: Apple will investigate anyone for anything. Play by the rules, boys and girls. They say they are looking at all my apps. Wow. So okay, forget what I said about Apple letting you get away with things, because I've never actually had that kind of issue. Although I have had them say you need to combine all of these apps into one app, which I was like, I refuse to do. I'd rather just unpublish them, because you know what? I probably should have just combined them. It would have been, literally would have been a weekend of work just sitting there combining all these apps into one monster app, which would have been, unmarketable because it tried to do too many things. But if that was what they wanted to do, so I didn't actually do that. I think I just removed most of them. No, yeah, Rick, thanks for letting us know that. God, so now it's getting scary now. Oh, it's almost like, so I used to ride a motorcycle for years. In fact, just until last year when I got my new car, and I thought I'll stop riding the motorcycle. And when you ride a motorcycle like just every day and you commute, it's a lot of fun. I really love riding a motorbike, riding it to contracts and stuff like that. But whenever you hear about somebody who got into a motorcycle accident, like a serious one where they died, or you wonder, what were they doing when they were hit? Was it because of them? Was it because of the other driver? But then you also realize sometimes these things could just happen to you, and it's scary to think about it. And you can't dwell on it too much, otherwise you won't be able to get anything done. But it's when I see stuff about the Google, it's hardly the same thing, Google Play being suspended and dying in a motorcycle accident, but it is seeing that kind of stuff. There's part of you goes, I can't say it was a fault of the developer because I don't know, but it's scary because you think it might happen to you, especially since nobody knows the reason why, especially the guy who's had it suspended. So that's really frustrating. Because I've got these ear agent and ear spy and all this stuff, and which they're really tame. They don't do very much like secret, but I'm always getting approached by SDK company, or not SDK companies, like advertising companies saying, just include our SDK in your app. It's, and I just stick with AdMob, and maybe AdMob, Facebook Audience Network, and AppLovin, and probably some other ones, if it was reputable, like if there was lots of people doing it. But that's one of my fears, is putting something out there where I don't know what it is, or there's been a change in policy and I haven't updated the SDKs because something got past me or something like that. And because I've done the ear agent, I don't want to ask for any permissions that I don't need, because people are already suspicious, right? Just because of the nature of the application. And I get but I get lots of people call me because they want an app developed, and this is what I get. So we have a form on our website where people can fill in. And so a lot of times I'll get people, I need to find out who my wife is talking to on the phone, right? I was like, I'm sorry, we can't help you. I need an app that could tell me, what my husband is doing, right? I need an app that could, and it's like, it's really, I won't touch that, right? You're just gonna get banned, right? And it's just, it gets on that side where you just think that's gonna get banned for some reason. It's like it violates so many privacy things that already, I'm scared about those kind of stuff. So, Serge says feature ratings are game app ratings. Google Play Store shows new feature rating circles for game control, gameplay, games graphics. Oh, they show up in the comments of Google Play. God, you know what? I'm sorry, I haven't really seen those on my. Hang on. I haven't really seen those on my. I haven't been paying attention to those at all. Wow, Serge. Because I think my games are not really. They're technically games, or like bubbles that float up and you tap on them, but I haven't really looked at that too much. I guess I don't have much of an opinion on it, but it's probably a good thing. It sounds to me like. No, wait, hang on a second. Actually, I do remember that, but I haven't been paying much attention to it. It does seem like I remember thinking it was going to slow, because when it came out, actually I remember looking at when it came out. I think it was at least 2 years ago, right? I haven't even been looking at it. But I remember thinking it's going to slow down the review process, right? I mean, if you give somebody too many questions to ask, it's too much. So, but I haven't really been revisited that. Let me know what the rest of you guys think about that. Vinesh Sharma says, how much time it took for your apps to get 10,000 installs? It was like, I think it was like a year. I think it was, no, maybe it wasn't a year. I think it was about 6 months. I can remember thinking, wow, we're nearly at 100 installs. I'm thinking, wow, when it was like at 85, wow, what if it gets up to 100? And then it was like, what if it gets up to 1,000? What if it gets up to 5,000? And then, you know, it was because I kept expecting it to stop at any time, right? And I just kept going. So, and it could still stop at any time, right? It could get suspended. Although I don't know any reason why I should. So let's see. Flighter1990 says, Eric, can you take a look at my new Android game called Ant Evolution? I released it 2 weeks ago and also running Google Ads campaign. Oh, cool. Let's have a look at it. So everybody, we're going to look at Flighter1990's app here, which is called Ant Evolution. Let's just share the screen. Let's see. Wow, there's more than one? Okay, here we go. So, I mean, I'm wondering, the name seems kind of, so we have a client this week who was asking, they wanted to do an app that, with the same name as an existing app. So we looked at it and said, there's already an app with that name on it. Are you sure you want to do it? I said, yeah, but it's a bit different. But it was, to me, it looks similar. And I'm wondering if that would bother the people like these guys. But let's see. So, Ant Evolution. Cool. Watch the, okay, so we got the video here. Cool. Defend your anthill. Cool. Oh, wow. Are those the scores? Cool. Let's see, Ant Evolution. Ant Evolution is a strategy game. So, I think it looks. Oh, you've got it. Wow, you've got. So I can see that you're putting the ads into it. Cool. I mean, at some point you might outrank those other guys. So you've got the reviews. Although I can't see any reviews. I see the ratings. Is that because they're in a different country? That could be what it is. Or am I just not seeing them here? Because it would only show the ones in your. Well, actually, no, this should show some. Why am I not seeing any reviews? I think it looks okay. What do the rest of you guys think? Let's go back down to you guys. Let's see. Anybody have any opinions on this? I think this is just a personal opinion thing, but I think the icon might be a bit more catchy. But I mean, I know it goes with the look of the application, so that looks cool. In terms of the since you're bringing in traffic through ads, you should probably be doing okay, and that's really good that you got 41 reviews already. You've already got 1,000 plus installs. If I go through and look at the other guy though, he's got he's doing the whole Planet of the Tasty Bugs. So he's got a few more different keywords on there, although Ant, Planet, Tasty Bugs, those might, actually his looks, actually I think you're okay. I think it looks alright, Fighter 1990. But I was just be concerned about the name being the same, but it's probably not that bad a thing. You see the same names a lot. So what do the rest of you guys think? You've already managed to get to the first place of the new games list in your country. Do you think it's worth an ad spend a $500 budget to stay on top for a while? Yeah, maybe. I mean, because at some point you should overtake this guy. So let's have a look at the. I'm saying this is your competitor. He's got 533 reviews. He's got a 3.5 rating, so you've got a higher rating, 50,000 plus installs. So hopefully you can get to the point where you take over and stuff like that. So. Yeah, I mean, if you can afford it, yeah, do that and just try to do that. But see if you can get them to share it. So you're getting people in the front door, and you're paying for them to get in the front door. So if there's any way you can get them to share it through social media or have any kind of incentive to do that, I think that would be good. Let's have a look. What else? Where was I? PHP thing. Fist007, it's different with PHP 7 now. Yeah, I'm sure it's not so much the speed. I don't like the question mark. It's all so stupid, isn't it? But yeah, I know that PHP is good. I mean, because somebody was telling me, somebody sent me a message saying, who's that guy? I see his YouTube videos all the time. He talks about PHP and, you know, is C# the best language for 2019. God, I'm blanking on his name, but he's like a YouTube guy, and he talks about PHP as being really good, one of the best languages and everything. I think somebody told me that, and I just, but it's a personal thing. So, you know, if you don't use something like I can remember being an ASP developer, not ASP.NET, just ASP, active server pages, right? And people would talk about how ASP was a terrible language. It couldn't scale. It resulted in spaghetti code. And then Microsoft went and made ASP.NET, and they said, we're getting rid of ASP because, you know, it results in a lot of spaghetti code and all this stuff. And I didn't think that was true. I knew professional ASP developers that were structuring their code and using object-oriented languages, and they were doing things in a very elegant way, like very readable code in classic ASP. But I think there were so many new people coming into it that it was tarred with the brush of being this really bad language, because a lot of people who, like technology managers or whatever, they hire somebody who says they could do ASP, and they were just newbies, right? So and I think that might be like one of the reasons why I don't think it's fair that I don't like PHP. I think it's probably part of that. I've just seen so many, like, just developers in India that I've been working with, or, well, it's not just India, but everywhere. You get like a junior developer, they write some PHP, they talk about how great it is because it's working, and you look at it and go, God, it looks awful. But yeah, I'm sure it is much better. But, you know, that's just my bias. So if you're a PHP guy, don't think that don't think I hate Eric because he doesn't. I just I like JavaScript, and I know other people say JavaScript is awful. I like TypeScript, I guess, but I just never really bothered to get into it. I think, you know, JavaScript solves my issues, and TypeScript was one of the nice things I like about JavaScript is it's a dynamic language. So if I have an object, I could just add a property to it at runtime, and it will just clear itself when I reinstantiate the object and stuff like that. And TypeScript brings typing back into it, and I'm thinking I don't really need it. It's kind of like if you use MongoDB and then you use Mongoose. Mongoose introduces models into it, so you have like a structure, but the whole thing about Mongo was there's no structure, so you can just do whatever you want. But that's the whole thing about type safety and everything too. That's what modern languages do. That's why we do interfaces. That's why we declare our variable types for the efficiency of it. So I'm just rambling now about different technologies, but no, I guess, you know, that's cool. Omega Doom says, hi Eric, do you collect any emails through your apps? I don't recall you discussing email marketing. Any particular reason you don't? Unless you do, and my comment is irrelevant. So Omega Doom, I have. So we did we have a newsletter. So I don't ask for the email in the apps, although I do. A lot of people who download our apps, they call up and they'll say, remove me from your list. I'm like, you're not even on our list. We don't know your email address or whatever, because we don't have that information. But I did put in like a newsletter. So we created like 13 issues of a spy newsletter. So for earSpy, and we had so we wrote like 13 articles, like how to disguise yourself, how to do whatever, just, you know, some fun stuff. And every week it would be sent out. Right, and what was happening was, and that was working because we were building this list, and we got the list of like 5,000 people. And the thing was, every time I would try to like send affiliate links through it, I was using MailChimp. I would go to like ClickBank because I didn't really, you know, ClickBank is what everybody was using, at least so I read. Or, you know, you watch these people on like YouTube and stuff. So ClickBank, you make your ClickBank fortune. So I go find like spy related products on ClickBank because I think I have this audience. I'll see if we can send them these affiliate links, and then it might be interested to them, and we can make some revenue that way. And every time I would send one of these things out, MailChimp would suspend the account. Right? It would just like they would suspend the email, or they would pause. They would suspend the campaign, not the account. Right, and I would kind of say, why is this? Because you can't just send anything through on MailChimp. It has to be a reputable link, right? So it was like, oh, so but what I could have done was set up a landing page and all that. But anyway, I never made any money through this. This is the reason why we stopped it. I don't even know if we still have it on there. We might. I don't think we do though. I think I removed it because although I was building this big list, when it came time to actually use it to sell, and this is all on me. This is not the fact that it doesn't work. It was just like when I went time to do it, it was like I just didn't have the time to do it. So we're building this big list, and as the list would grow, my MailChimp bills would get higher and higher and higher. And I was like finding out I was just paying to have these guys, even after the last email was sent, they were still on the list. And I think at some point I'm going to do something with them. And in the end, I just went and started just deleting them from it, and then just removing it. So yeah, it is possible. So in terms of if you have, see, you need to be able to get their email address. So we don't have a registration or a login or an online account or anything like that on a lot of our applications. So we don't really have that information. But I know we do stuff for other clients, and I've done one where we have a registration, right? So we do have an email address, but if we have permission, so you need to ask for permission to it, and then you can market to them that way. But it's something that I've not done very well. Like I've read so many books on email marketing. I've watched so many tutorials on it, and when it comes time to actually do it, yeah, I'm not the best at that. But I'm going to try to get better at it. The big thing at the moment for me is to do some this year. Well, over the next few months, I want to get some Facebook ads done. Just to target businesses, and so I'll try to build up the business and also get the the opt-in emails and all that stuff. So that's my experience so far. Omega Doom. It was something where I thought this could be another revenue stream, and then when it came time to do it, I didn't really do it. So what I was doing was going to ClickBank, getting the links, putting them straight into the MailChimp email, and sending those out. And I mean with text, I wasn't just on its own, and then that was what was getting MailChimp suspended. What I should have been doing was setting up a landing page on my site or a landing page someplace and including a link there, and then sending them to the landing page, and then from the landing page they can go to that link. But that's not what I was doing. So in the end, I just turned it off because it was costing me so much money. CH Development says Firebase Crashalytics gives a lot more details on crashes than the standard Google crash reports. Adding it to all my apps. I don't think I've used Firebase Analytics, and I've used the Google one, but I don't think I've migrated anything over to Crashalytics. I should. Hamza Sai says, what do you think about serverless? Yeah, serverless. I think it's cool. Like Firebase is something we use. It's funny when you talk about serverless because they say, yeah, like a serverless architecture like Firebase. And to me, Firebase is a server. It is a server someplace. I mean, I think about a server. It's not a concrete server. It's a cloud-based server. But how about serverless architecture? I think it's cool. I think it's a quick way to get everything up and running. One thing about Firebase, and we use Firebase a lot, is that if you have like a lot of downloads coming from it, that could get expensive after a while, just with the pricing structure. But I think it's the nice thing about using serverless. So there's different ways that we do so. We have like a Linux server. We have a Windows server, like on Amazon EC2, which just sits there, and we log into it like same as if it was a physical box. We could say it's cloud, but it's really a server. And then you have stuff like Heroku and Firebase and these other servers, which are you don't have core access to the machine. It's you just basically upload your code and it just serves it. It's cool. It's really great that way. The nice thing is if something crashes, it should start up, right? If you don't run out of disk space, you don't run out of anything like that. Although on Heroku we have had it crash and and no notifications go off because we did have one instance like that. So yeah. So I think it's cool, Hamza. Let's see. Billy says, I just noticed that the title says January 25th. Oh, God, I always forget to change the title on the live stream. You know what? I need a checklist. Thank you very much, Billy. 8th of February. I'm going to change it right now. 8th of February 2019. Oh God, we're already, this year's going quick already. Hey Sam Susie says, what apps make money the most, iOS or Android? For me, it's Android, but per user, it's iOS. So if I get my downloads up on iOS, it would be more. So it's mainly because I have more users coming in through Google Play or through Android. And that's the reason why I make more money from it. But if you look at it on a per user basis, it's a lot less. So I still find that iOS users spend more money. So we had talking to a prospect earlier this week, and we're saying, so you want it? I always think they want both Android and iPhone. And I said, no, we just want iPhone. I said, really, just iPhone? He said, yeah, most people are on iPhone, so we just want to go with that. And I said, actually, most people are on Android. So they said, it's like 80% market share. But they said, yeah, but everybody I know is on iOS. I said, okay, well, that's fine, right? But it was like it was the first time in a few years that I've heard somebody say they just want to go with one platform. So because everybody's on one, it's like, everybody I know is on iOS or whatever. And for me, it's the opposite. I know both sides of things. So in fact, I'm an iPhone user, but just because I need to test that kind of stuff. So Rick Calvert says, that's cool, you are a rider, Eric. I have a trick 2009 Sportster. What kind of bike did you ride? So the last bike I had was a Honda CBF 1000, and it was nice. I would ride it all the time. So it was like I had the hand warmers and a fairing on it. So the bike I had before that didn't have a fairing; it was naked. So I guess it was about 2006. I got a CBF 600. CBR. No, it wasn't. It was a CBR 600, and that was my first big bike. So back when I was 22, I had a Honda Interceptor 250, like when I was in Hawaii, and I would ride that thing around. When I was in the Army, I would ride that thing around Hawaii all the time, and it was nice. A 250 got really great gas mileage, made a noise like this when you rode it, and but it was really fast, especially in Hawaii, because Hawaii didn't have any roadkill. I mean, hardly any, and every place was close. I mean, it was just nice to ride around. And for the longest time, when I came to England, I thought, it took me ages to get my driver's license in England, even though I'd already driven for 10 years in the States, and I didn't bother doing the motorcycle one. And finally, like 2006, I got a motorbike, and I just thought it's nice. Like if I go to Oxford, I can get around the traffic. But it was like riding the bike. It's scary to. I always think when you hear about these accidents, you hear about that kind of stuff. But I love riding the bike. I mean, it was nice. The reason I switched to a car was because I've been going to so many meetings, and I found it. I had a top box on the bike, and I would literally put try to wear the suit underneath the trousers over the like the protective trousers over the suit, and you get all wrinkly. And I would try to fold up the jacket, put it in the top box, put my big bike jacket on and my gloves and everything, and it was hard just to sit there bouncing on one foot to get my boots off and put on my dress shoes so I could get on the train and go to this meeting, or even if I'm standing outside in the parking lot trying to do that, and it was just really hard. So I thought I just moved to the car, and I like the Mustang, but and even I think the nice thing is it's such a comfortable car that even when I get stuck in traffic, it's still kind of okay, right? So but yeah, no, I did like riding a bike. I mean, it's just the danger of it. I think one of my kids has a motorcycle now, a 125, and it is a scary thing. As a parent, you think, I don't know if I want you doing that. So, but you have a bike, Dad. I said, yeah, I know, but yeah, no, Rick, that's so a 2009 Sportster. A Sportster, that's is that a Harley? That's a Harley, right? So I used to have my vision board. So I was doing my vision boards ages ago. So I'm going off on a tangent here on motorcycles, but my vision board, I had Mustang. So I was like, I have a 2015 Mustang at the time, because it was like, took me a few years to actually get there. And the other one was I wanted an 883 iron Harley, because I went to the Harley dealership and I saw it and I thought, that's just a nice looking bike, and it's not as expensive as the other ones. I don't like the ones with the big curly handlebars. I'm not the tough biker guy. Even when I was riding a bike, Rick, I'd be like probably slower than I like pretty much kept to the speed limit. I can remember people like on other bikes go zooming past me, and I go to London. One time I rode into London for work, thinking that's it, no more train for me, and it was the most stressful thing ever. I was stuck in traffic for ages, and I was kind of like creeping through the cars because they were so close to each other, and the more experienced riders were just zoo, 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 right? And I think I was getting in everybody's way. But no, I love riding a bike. So let's see, where was I? Elidor Verosi says, "Do you see Xamarin as obsolete in 2019?" No, I don't. I think Xamarin is probably stronger than it's ever been. It's just I haven't really. When I got into Xamarin, it was, I was looking into it because I was a .NET developer. I was C#, and I was looking into it, and it seemed really clunky to me at the time. It was nice, the promise of it, so I could have one shared library, so I could have a Visual Studio solution where I had 3 projects, where I had my front end for iOS, my front end for Android, and I'd have the project with the main core libraries, which would be shared between the 2 of them, and the GUIs would be the same in both. And then, of course, I was on Windows at the time, and you had this weird thing where you had to compile it on a Mac, and then when you're on a Mac, you didn't really have Visual Studio back. This is back in like 2011, 2012. So it was a while ago, and when I started looking into that, it was like the instructions were, okay, so to change this storyboard or the nib file, all you have to do is drag this into Xcode, do this changes here, then go back into Visual Studio and code that stuff. And it was something that I just thought, I'll just do it natively. And every time I would ask how much bloat does it add to an app, and I think it was a lot. I think it was like 30 megabytes, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm sure it's better now. I mean, you think about all the developers out there who've been working with .NET for the ages, and they're getting into app development. I think it's going to be an ecosystem that keeps growing. And also, since then, Microsoft, I think, has Microsoft bought it? I know Microsoft's got a lot more involved in the Xamarin side of things. So if you're like a Windows .NET developer, I think it would make sense, but I've never got into it. I bought some books on it. I literally have a book that I bought from Pact Publishing on iOS development with Xamarin and Android development with Xamarin, and I read through a few chapters and never got through it. But I don't think it will. I don't think it'll be obsolete. I think it's got Microsoft's backing, but but that's it's still you. And I did a video where I talked about hybrid frameworks and how now is the time for hybrid. This was several years ago, and I talked about Xamarin being a hybrid framework, right? Because I thought it's not native, so it's in between, whatever. And somebody comments, people, Xamarin is not hybrid. Xamarin is core, is code. It's not, it's compiled, it's whatever, and all this stuff. So, so to some people, hybrid just means HTML and the web view thing. So I stopped using that term when I talk to other things. But so I think Elidor, if you're gonna learn it, I think learn it. You should be fine. What I did think about Xamarin was previously that was they were always marketing themselves as use the language you already know, right? Use the language you already know. And I wanted something. I just wanted a good. I was fine to learn a new language, but I just wanted a good cross-platform language, which I think is where Flutter comes in, right? Nobody knows Dart. I mean, a few people. I mean, that's not true. If you're a Dart developer, I apologize, but I don't know Dart, right? And I'm willing to learn Dart under the promise that I could do both at the same time and not be held back by anything else. And that was the thing I liked about Cordova applications and Ionic, is because for the same reasons, but it's the whole web view thing it scares me. And the dependency hell and the idea that you have a dependency on not just in terms of compilation. Although I have never released an Ionic app and have it not stop working for a change in the platform or anything like that. It's always been really consistent there. But but every time I release a new version, I have issues with it. But there are a lot of platforms like that. Even with Xcode, we got some code. We got some code last week from somebody who wanted us to have a look at it, and I looked at it. It hadn't been updated since 2013, and I couldn't run it because there were so many dependencies that had changed, and you have to look at that stuff. So. Welly Studio says, "Sir, I'm thinking of implementing in-app purchases, ad-free version. Cool. How much should I need to charge for my users, and should I need to stop showing ads for lifetime for a specific period of time?" It's up to you, really, because you could do it however you want. You just need to make sure they know about it. I think, me personally, I think if somebody makes an in-app purchase, I remove the ads, unless they have nothing to do with, like, I have an in-app purchase for remove ads, and then I have in-app purchases for other things to add features. But in other applications, I have an in-app purchase, which is just upgrade to the free version, right? And just undo everything. It just makes it easier for me. Having a variable in there called is full, and then do the same code for both of the free and the paid version, and just have that variable be turned on and have it on the app instantiation, reset it from whatever saved and stored thing. So, and you can restore the purchase and everything like that. So if you're going to do subscription, then I think you should, then you could bring it back on. But and in terms of how much should you charge, I think you should play around with it a little bit. You know, it's once you put it in there, what you don't want to do. Okay, this is a really good question, Awale, is because I've done this before. You want to put the price on there, but you don't want to put it like, you don't want to put it in the code. You don't want to say this is going to cost $2.99, because I've seen that happen before. In fact, another app that was, like, we've been getting a lot of work in lately. Right, and somebody brought something, and they had a lot of pop-ups that had prices on them, so for the in-app purchases, which is cool, except it doesn't translate to other languages. But if you could read from the libraries and show, like, do it, you know, get the inventory and then show the prices dynamically, then you could keep changing those prices. It's going to automatically change for other locations. So if it's in euros or dollars or pounds or yen, you know, it's going to automatically do that. And you could always show the prices, and they could do that before they make that decision. So so make sure you don't hard code it in the code. Make sure you check from the thing. That way you can just change it in Google Play. You can say, is nobody buying these in-app purchases? Then in that case, let me lower the price, or if they are, raise the price to see if that does anything, and you know, just change things up from time to time. That's my opinion there. I'm sorry, I'm losing my place here. You know, I need to get a. One day I'm going to get a moderator in here to help me with these questions, because I know I keep saying this. CH Development says, Eric, what are your thoughts on the 64-bit update? Oh, I've already done this one. Oh, for Play Store, it looks like only native apps are unaffected. Yeah, I think I said that. So there's I think you should be fine if you've compiled it recently. If you have an older app, so I have a bunch of older apps that I haven't compiled recently, and those will probably just fall off the wayside. But I don't think it's a problem. I think it's just, you just have to keep everything up to date. I don't know if you're gonna not be able to support older Android versions though. Although you should. Let's see. Vinay Sharma says, how much average installs you get per day on your best app in Play Store? So the average is probably around 2,000 downloads on Play Store. Yeah, it's about, no, it's more than, it's about between 2,000 and 3,000 at the moment. So 2,500 on average at the moment. So I checked it just yesterday. So I used to check it every day, and now I just so now I check it every few days. CH Development says, my free budgeting app is hitting 1,000 installs on this weekend. Yeah, it took me 1 year, only by Play Store searches. That's good. So that's awesome. So you can build up that organic reach. So Flighter 1990 says, it's maybe because they're from other countries. Cool. Have you done it? Cord Funk says, have you done any project in Flutter yet? No, we haven't. But we're quoting on one. So we have a quote out for one, but I have not done any yet. Even today, I thought about just scrubbing the whole afternoon schedule and just sitting down and do it. I know I haven't. I need to do it. I haven't done. A lot of what I've been doing lately is going into existing projects and making tweaks on stuff, and I really want to do it. I've watched so many tutorials. I've done the shopping cart examples. I've done all these kind of stuff, but I have not done anything. And I have not finished something and released it. And I know I should, because I'm really excited about it. And every week I say I'm really excited about Flutter, and then I don't. So it's I just haven't had the time. Jesse says, what do you think of the Go as a language? I know nothing about Go. I know it's a Google language, and I remember when it came out thinking, who's going to learn that? And so I don't really know anything about it. I'm sure there are people, it's like Lua. Lua is a language that I use a lot. I use it because it's in Corona. I don't use it because I like it. I use it because it's in Corona, and I learned Lua. And some people are hardcore Lua fans, right? They think Lua is a really good language, and I just think, right? I'm not but it helps in the platform I have. I wish I could do Corona with other languages like JavaScript or Dart or whatever, something else. But and I think of Go in the same way. I'm sure there's an ecosystem out there, some really dedicated people to it, but it's not like it never even comes onto my radar. Like I don't even know if I've even seen any Go code, Jesse. So that's just my opinion, but I could be wrong. I feel like I might be offending a lot of people. Every time I talk about a language, you get offended. I can remember working in an investment bit when I was one of my first jobs. I was on the Microsoft team, and it was a Microsoft team and a Java team, and we would always badmouth the other languages. It was all like the Java guys would say, the Microsoft technologies were not scalable. They were evil Microsofts, all that kind of stuff. And I can remember thinking that the Java developers couldn't design a GUI to save their lives, right? And which was just, they were both languages. They both did, you could accomplish the same thing either way. They both worked. And I can remember one time when PHP, it didn't just come out, but it just got more popular. And I remember somebody said, "Hey, have you seen PHP? That's powerful, man. That's powerful, right?" And we talk about programming languages the way we talk about martial artists. Like, I bet PHP can kick ASP's ass any day. Nuh-uh, right? But they all get the same job done. They're all loops and if statements and functions and dependency injections and all that kind of stuff. So, Jay Matthew says, "Can you share what Overpass is doing with smart speakers? I don't think it would work for my business, but I'm curious about it." So, okay, so I can't tell you what we're doing for clients, but I have, okay, so let me show you this. Hang on a sec. Let me go get my, the speakers in the back. So if you have Android Assistant, Google Android Assistant. If you have Google Assistant and you say, hang on, let me go get it. Don't disregard the lunch over here. Here we go. Okay, my apologies for those of you guys who have a Google device out there, because I'm gonna say the magic words. So hang on. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Hey Google, talk to Overpass apps.
Okay, let's get Overpass apps.
So
hey, this is Eric from Overpass. Now allow me to introduce you to our Overpass bot.
So basically, I finally got this app approved on the Google.
How can I help you? If you are not sure what to ask, just ask for help.
Give me an app idea. Cancel. Anyway, so cancel.
Okay, feel free to visit us again anytime.
So I've been trying since Christmas to get this app approved on the Google Home speakers, and this week it was finally approved, right? And I just kept going through it, so I kept getting rejected, but they were really nice rejections. They obviously have a lot more time on the Google Actions team, right? So they'll say your speaker's been left open too long. You're not giving prompts to the user for what to do. So I was going back and forth, and so I created just a demo one for Overpass apps. So basically all it does is it has a little bit on there where I was playing around with playing an MP3. So it plays a little bit of my voice first, and then it goes to the automated voice. And then there's like two things it does. One is it gets keyword suggestions for an app. So we're using our ASO tool on the website. However, it crashes if you do the Google Play one. So it'll say, like, you say, give me a keyword suggestion. It'll say, what's the seed keyword? And it'll say baseball or whatever. And it'll say for iTunes or Google Play, for App Store or Google Play. And if you say Google Play, then it will go to get it, and it's too slow and it crashes. So that's one thing. The other thing it does is it gives you an app suggestion. So if you say, give me an app suggestion, it'll basically, it's just a cheap little bit of code where like several arrays, and it will say, Uber for babysitters or whatever, something like that. So it's just a bunch of stuff. And it was like something I'd written over over the course of like an afternoon just to see if I get it done. I wanted to see the process works, right? What I didn't want to do was spend months working on some big Google speaker thing and then submit it and then have it fail because I coded it wrong. So I did the bare minimum. So that's on there now. It's kind of exciting to think anybody could say that on a speaker, and it's something that the excitement of it for me is that there's going to be. I liked using the ecosystem. So it's the way that it works is it uses Node.js as the back end, but it uses Dialogflow in between. So you've got sorry to geek out on this, but it's really cool. So you got the play action. So the Google actions.google.com, I think it is, on the one side, and then you've got the Dialogflow, which does the NLP, the natural language processing, that bit, and that's really cool. If you watch some tutorials on it, you'll see how that works. And then for bits where it's a bit more complicated, then it goes out to a server, and we're using I think we're using Heroku. No, we're using Firebase. I think we're using Firebase Cloud Functions, or I can't even remember what it is. I have to look at the code again. So, and then that does that bit. So you can interface it with anything, and I really want to get more advanced in this. So we're using Dialogflow for a few other projects. Now I just got the Alexa app, device. Sorry, say the magic word. I can't say Alexa. So I just got that the other day. So I want to go through and do that. And I think, so from what I've read, you could export like the objects and stuff from Dialogflow to Ask, which is the Alexa skills kit. So I think it was called Lex, and now it's called Ask. I'm not sure if they're both two different products, but I think it's Ask is the current one. And so you can export those, but it's like a different thing. You have to set it up differently. So it's just going through all that stuff. So we're doing a few things with clients on that. And for me, I've talked about this before. I don't want to get, even though I have developers who can do this, I don't like the idea that they can do something that I can't. Right? Just like, because I feel like I'm just like, I should know at least the basics so I could jump in there if something goes wrong and see what it is from a technical level. So that's a lot of what I've been doing lately. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been doing personally, but the company's been doing more with clients. So I think it's the thing that's interesting about it is I think it's a whole new frontier of work now, and just a different way of working. And rather than have GUIs or graphical user interfaces, you have voice user interfaces, and that's the bit that is, like I said, I wasn't sure about. I was saying I'm gonna do one on the speakers, and I think it was like wow, maybe we don't want to. That's something that we're working on, but it is we're trying to see whether or not we can market that as a skill if other companies are doing it, because it's impressive when you show other people how that works. But they're still kind of like thinking, how could I use that? Well, the same like we all do it. How can I use that? So yeah, Jay, that's kind of what we're doing on that. So let's see. CH Development says, PHP guy here. I'm used to the stigma connected with it. Personally, I love using it. Cool. Aiden Mack says, I'm sorry if I'm way back behind on these questions, guys. So I always fear that the person who asked has already left, but hopefully that's the case. Ada Max says, can you write a script to get the live stream name correct? I probably could. Right now, it's one of those things where I haven't really tried. Yeah, good idea, Aiden. I've got scripts that do all kinds of stuff, and I'm sure I could do something like on a cron job or something like that. Yeah. As a developer, I should be doing these things manually. You're absolutely right. I should be ashamed of myself. Cordfunk says JavaScript with async await is good. Without promises with callback, me not so much. All languages are good, only bad programmers. Jesse says, are you considered with Article 13 where businesses are required to upload filters to prevent copyrighted material from being available on their networks? I'm not sure. I did a bit of reading on Article 13 when last month. I was more concerned about the YouTube channel, but we don't really we use music, but we use like artlist.io, or we'll use the Google or the YouTube music store. I have an account with Adobe stock images, so I pay this ridiculously expensive amount for stock images when we use those, and I've bought a lot of stuff through like Audio Jungle and stuff, and but I have bought, I actually have bought music from Audio Jungle, uploaded it to YouTube, and had YouTube remove it because they said it's copyright music. And I was like, dude, I paid for this, and you got to go and appeal that kind of stuff. But no, I'm not so worried about that just yet. But in terms of like, this is one of the reasons I have designers, right? I have designers so that we don't use other people's images. And I have specific. I mean, this is something where one of the first things we did was I hired a company in India. They had a designer. They said, you can use one of our designers. I said, okay, right, that sounds good. And the designer went away and produced something that was just awful. It was supposed to be the super spy game thing, and she came back with some cute little thing with smiley faces, and it was like, how could you get this so wrong? And then she went out and she came back with this awesome image of like a helicopter with lightning bolts behind it, everything like that. And I said, did you do this yourself? And she said, yes. And then I found the image that it was from. It was like this is like, it wasn't even like a stock image. It wasn't purchased. It was on some website for some toy, and I was so furious, right? Because we could have released that to the store. It was like, I will never trust a designer from another company again, right? Because she just outright lied about it. Her name was Panita. I'm still, you know, after all these years, I'm still upset about it, right? So this is one of the things. I have my own designers. I was like, show me the source. Yeah, I want to see the PSD and I want to see the or the AI files, whatever it is, and stuff like that. So yeah, I do think about that stuff a lot. So the engine says I make 4 times more money from iOS. Cool. Yeah, I mean, from purchases, I had to remove a lot of my apps, so it's gone down a bit, but yeah, I found that people are more likely to make those purchases there. So, Wawaru Kamau says, "Hi Eric, should I charge for things that take 2 minutes to fix?" Yes. Well, actually, no, it's up to you. It's up to you. Here's what happens though. It depends on how difficult they are. If it's 2 minutes to fix, like, you know, just go in there and fix something, then that's cool. But you have to understand, if you fix something and then something else goes wrong, even if it's unrelated, and they look to you to fix that, they're thinking it's because you fixed that, you did that one thing. Ever since you did that fix, this other thing stopped working. Could you look at that? And then you get in a situation where a 2-minute job turns into a 10-minute job or whatever, and you haven't been paid for it. So it's up to you, Wawaru. I don't charge for a lot. There's so much I don't charge for. Like, if somebody calls up, I'm just like, I could be all tough, like, yeah, you should charge for everything, but I'm the same. Like, if it's just easy, I'll just do it real quick. But the danger there is you can get a point where, let's say you're just going to change a little bit of code, right? Like, you know that there's let's say there's an issue someplace, and you just put a little if statement in there, right? Yeah, no big deal. I'll just go through and say, if it's not this, then that. Okay, cool. Everything starts working again. But then something else, like you don't see the full picture, something else stops working or something, then it's all on you because you made that change, and then you have this whole bag of worms. So think about that. That's just something to do. I mean, I've always been in the past where I've had managers who told me that. I would say, well, why don't we just do it? Because it's like 10 minutes. It's no big deal. And they're like, no, yeah, it's 10 minutes, and then it's bug fixing, and then it's support stuff, and then it's them blaming you for everything else because you touched it last, right? You don't want to get into that situation. Yeah, touched it last. Like a children, I've been in that situation. Hey, you touched it last. It's obviously you. Give me a break. So CH Development says, Eric, I watched some of your older 1-minute videos and inspired me to document my own experience with app development as I learn going forward. Not a plug. I just wanted to say thanks. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think everybody out there should do videos. Those old videos are really they're really kind of embarrassing. Actually, let me go through and show some of these ones. Those old videos are pretty embarrassing. Just because I was just learning what I was doing. So I had this idea that I'll just do a minute. I think a lot of people who start videos, they think, I'm going to keep it short because that's, because people don't want to be, I'm just going to give the information and whatever. And then they just got longer and longer over time. And, yeah, definitely. I think everybody should. If you yeah, every so often somebody will give me a compliment on the videos, like, you're actually really good on camera. And it's like, dude, go look at the old ones. Go look at the old ones. It's like everything else. You get better at it. You really suck at first, right? Everybody, everybody out there who's a web developer, you know your first website had Comic Sans font and was really awful, right? You go back and look at it, and that's just, there's a progression there, and I think that's the way all the time. Leron keeps posting a link here, and it keeps getting blocked. So Leron says, "Hi Eric, any ideas about my new app currently without any downloads?" So let's have a look at this, and I apologize. I'm gonna get to all the questions here right now. I'm on Leron's question, so let's go to. So Leron is not getting any downloads on his app here. It's called Open Chat with without saving Open Chat without saving phone numbers to contacts. Okay, so you could just okay. Just rolls off the tongue, that name, doesn't it? So Open Chat without saving number to contacts. Okay, cool. Open Chat quickly. Cool. So you're not getting, are you getting, so you have one install. I've never seen that before. So Leron, what would people be searching on? Because I get what it does. You have the entire what it does in the description. So if somebody was searching for that, then it would. But obviously people aren't searching for that. So what can we talk about? Can we talk about privacy? Can we talk about if we called it something like just chat, right? Does it open WhatsApp? Is that what it does? So if we call it just chat, right? Just chat. The just chat. Don't leave any footprints, or privacy. You're talking about privacy, or you just want to chat. You don't want to put them in your contacts. You want to go to the song and dance, right? They're not worth putting in everything. So I mean, is that something that you could do? Just my ideas there. I think the name, although it's a bit long, it says exactly what it does. That would be better as a subtitle, and you give it something like. But yeah, I mean, I'm wondering, because I'm not sure about this market. So quick, Open Chat quickly. You've got the screenshots here. You've got 3 screenshots. You have a lot room for a lot more. I would think. Because I don't think if you're getting, again, we'll go back to this Google Play acquisition report. Sorry, you guys get sick of my voice every so often. So you open up the Google Play acquisition report. You look at if people are actually finding this. If they're not, we have to look at the title and the keywords. People aren't searching this for some reason, or if they are searching for it, they're finding something else. So we have to have a look at that. The second thing is, if they are coming to this page, are the screenshots working? Because I think you could do much better screenshots saying the benefits of it. Saying, go open up chat without saving contact. I mean, that's what it is. Why do you always have to save contacts, whatever? And then maybe have a few stock images in here and something just a bit more. But so Leron, I think that might be something to look into. The rest of you guys, do you have anything to add to that? Let's see. The engine says plus quality of Android users is low. They leave bad reviews more than iOS users. By the way, I don't have an iPhone and I'm not biased towards iOS. Cool. Aiden says, Storm, Eric made it very difficult to ride my motorbike yesterday. Oh, the storm. So did you have a storm? Aiden, are you in the UK? So yeah, that was one thing about going out. I love going out on the bike, but on the days when it was, I would never go out if it was below 0. Because of the ice, obviously, but I have had a few slips. I've had one accident, Aiden, on a motorcycle, which was one where it was when I was 23 or something. I stopped suddenly behind. I was trying to merge into traffic in Honolulu, and I was like looking back and looking forward, and it was like stop and go traffic, and just quickly go in there, and the van stopped right in front of me. It put on my brakes, went right underneath the van, and it was just it shook me really a lot. And there was some kids driving the van trying to get you need to give me $300 or whatever. I was like, dude, we exchanged insurance and all this stuff, but that's the only real accident I've been in. I mean, I've dropped the bike before. It's not really an accident, but I remember when I first got my first big bike, I took it out and I rode it for like 5 hours. It was so nice. It was nice because I'd never had a big bike, like a 600, and it was just it was so fast, and it purred, and it was just like a nice thing. And then as I came to a roundabout, like really a block from home, like it couldn't happen in front of strangers, happened a block from home. I go to a roundabout, and it's kind of a little bit more at an angle than I think, and I just dropped the bike. And it'd been so long since I've ridden a bike that I tried to pick it up like a push bike by grabbing the handlebars and lifting it, and I couldn't do it. And somebody got out of the bike and grabbed the front and back, lifted it up, and it was kind of embarrassing. I had to replace the brake lever, no, the clutch. I had to replace the clutch lever and the was it the clutch, and it was on the left side, so it would have been. Yeah, it would have been the clutch, the foot clutch, and the clutch lever. So, but yeah. Mehmet Demir says, hello. Hey, Mehmet, how's it going? Oh, well, I'm so far behind. We're still talking about 883 iron. 883 irons are sweet rides. Remember the Interceptor from the 80s? Didn't Tom Cruise ride an Interceptor Top Gun? He probably did, but I was like on a 250, so it was like, yeah. Tom Cruise wasn't riding against chasing the F-14 with the engine going, but. Pork Pie Software says charge you for 2 minutes. If it's a relationship, do it for free. If it's a transactional, yeah, I agree with that. Za says hi everyone. The Engine says how much downloads you get on the App Store. I haven't checked in a while. I think it was like 800. It was about 800 a day. It's probably lower than that because I only have a few apps on there. I'll have to check on that and get back to you. You know what? I should know the answer to that, but I haven't even looked at iTunes this week. Zoot Rock says I want to make money from app by ads. Cool. Hey San Susi says I did hit 3,000 installs in 5 months. Can you check my app Techno Freak? It's ranked 3rd on Techno keyword in Play Store. Okay, so this one is for Haysam. So let's have a look at this. If we do a search for Techno, now it might be ranked might not be ranked 3rd for me because I'm Techno Freak. It's actually ranked 2nd because it might be different for the UK. Is this the one here, Haysam? So Techno Freak, cool. We got the icon is cool. I've been seeing this a lot lately. I never thought to do this, to have the screenshots span multiple things. I think it looks cool on the here, but does it look the same on a device? The most simple yet powerful techno radio app. Big, includes more than 70 techno radio settings. Background, stream while working or chatting. Cool. I think it looks cool. Nice. You got some really good reviews. 1,000+ installs. I mean, you're using 3 screenshots. Have you thought about just including a few more? I mean, just I mean, I remember when I think iOS, what does iOS have now? 8 screenshots. I remember it had only 5, and I only had like 2 screenshots on on one of my iOS apps. And somebody told me, look, you're losing a marketing opportunity, right? There, you have several more things you could put on here in order to get people to do it. So some of the stuff, like let's have a look at the description. Easy to use, high-speed app, can be streamed in background, always up-to-date techno radio. So some of the stations include, so some of the stuff you could put in a screenshot. Is people might not click on the read more and do that, but that would just be my suggestion. Let's see. Zoot Rock says, which application is best to earn in Android Play Store? What do you suggest to me? I would say I think utilities, you can make more with utilities than you can with games, from what I've read. But there's so many utilities out there. I mean, you couldn't do a calculator because there's so many out there. I mean, there's so much. You'd have to come up with something a little bit more. Look at what people are searching for. Let's see. Za says, I work as a full stack developer too for MS. For Microsoft? Cool. Is MS, I assume you mean Microsoft. That's awesome. Best all-in-one app package says, hi Eric, I made my first app with Appy Pie. I'm going to improve it later. My capital didn't allow otherwise. Cool. Well, I mean, you got something out there. You could test the market. I mean, Appy Pie and those other app builders, they're not bad. I mean, they allow you for very cheaply to go out and test the market before you do anything else. It's a very simple app. It links to other apps, yours included. Oh, it links to my app. Why is my app crashing? I don't know why it's crashing. I mean, that would be something. If it's through Appy Pie, isn't that something they have to have a look at? What's it called? best all-in-one app package. Is that what it's called? Zoot Rock says, love from Pakistan. Thanks for Zoot. Honest Tomato says, hello, what's your journey like to making apps? So Honest Tomato, I did talk about this quite a bit before. So I was I came to the UK like with no IT experience back in 1998. I worked in a factory because I got my degree in history. I was going to be a history teacher. And right after I got my degree, I moved to England for family reasons. So I had no job prospects. I was applying to every job I could get, and then I got into IT. So I was like, I applied for everything. I mean, I nearly became a ticket collector on the train. I had an interview at Blockbuster Video in Oxford, and I didn't get that job, which I was devastated about. And I got this job at an investment bank as a trainee programmer, and I knew nothing. I didn't know any programming languages. I barely knew how to use Windows 5, whatever it was. It wasn't like I barely knew how to use Windows 95. Actually, it was Windows 95. So I got the job, and I went in there, and I just completely did a terrible job at first, but then I read everything, and I got better at it, and then I just became, after a while, you start reading this stuff and getting excited about the technology, and after a while, people start coming to you for advice, and even though you're like pretty new to this, but you're new on the newest thing, right? And then I was just moving from job to job, and I wanted to start my own company, and I did start my own company, but I was really bad at sales and marketing and stuff like that. So I just work contracts. So I take on contracts here, there, and that stuff. And then I did the first app and then the second app, and then they started to make a little bit of money, but I was still contracting. So I was doing this work where I was hiring developers between like I would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Between 4 and 6, I'd work on my own apps, and then I would go work at a contract, and I would come home and work on them again, and just try to keep all that stuff going. And it felt like it's difficult when you're doing that because you feel like maybe the fear is that you're just wasting your time, right? You're thinking other people aren't struggling and getting no sleep like I am, and I hope this pays off one day. And if I knew for sure it was going to work, it would have been so much easier, but I didn't. And then after a while, the app started to pick up a little bit momentum, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, and then I was able to go down to 3 days a week contracting, and then and eventually we took on some. Then eventually I left altogether and was barely able to make ends meet, and then I started taking on contract work, and working with other developers and sort of building things up that way. So that's the journey, and like really quickly, because I know I've done so many videos about it in the past. I don't want to like bore anybody. Abdo Hamdi says, "What's the best language to learn to make an API?" Again, so many languages are similar. I like Node.js and JavaScript just because you use. Well, you can use PHP as well. But Heroku, Firebase, Cloud Functions. You could use it through Azure and everything. So, but I mean, you could do a really good. In C#, you could do a really good one because it's so easy to do REST functions in C#. And you could do it. I mean, you could do it any language because the server side of things, it should be. Your app, when it communicates with the server, it shouldn't care what that language is. It just care about what the REST interface is. You think about if you were to divide it between two people, like my friend's going to do the, or my friend's, another company, or my friend. My friend is going to do the API, and I'm going to do the app. We would have to define an interface. So for me, I have seen people do PHP APIs where they didn't use REST. They just used .php, and that's one thing. That's the only thing I would say is don't do anything like that. Don't do anything where you are not language agnostic. Use REST, which you can do in PHP. Use REST functions. That way, if you can use whatever language you want because the app doesn't care. Just as long the most efficient thing in terms of the thing. So it's really a personal preference. Jesse says, if you have 6 months free time, would you concentrate on improving your tech skills or marketing sales skills? If I had 6 months, like if I was able to stop time. If I was able to stop time, okay, let's ask this question of everybody. This is a really good question. It's a really good question, Jesse. If I was able to stop time, right? Nobody's asking you for anything. Everybody's just frozen like this, and you're just able to, but you have to focus on a certain skill. What would it be? It would be technology. It definitely would be. It would be learning tech skills, right? Because tech skills are what sets us apart. I think sales and marketing is important, but it would be hard to do it if everybody else is frozen. But even then, I think sales and marketing is something that we all need to learn how to do, and not everybody can do the tech skills. I think when I get called by companies all the time saying, Eric, we want to be your offshore partner, whatever, and I'm talking to the person, and they are a marketer. They're a salesperson. When I ask technical questions, they don't know the answer to it, which is really what I want to know, right? There's, it's I think, I think it's like as a developer, everyone as a software developer in the market that's getting more and more crowded needs to learn at least a little bit of sales and marketing. Not every sales and marketer needs to know technology, right? And that's something that distinguishes us, that sets us apart, right? We're able to do that kind of stuff. And I also think it's a skill that's harder to learn than sales and marketing. And sales and marketing is hard, but it's hard in a different way. Cause, like I said, I'm not that good at it. It's hard in a different ways. Being more assertive, getting on the phone and talking to people, getting getting used to rejection, getting used to people saying no to you, that kind of stuff. Whereas as a software developer, you're dealing with code, but it's also, you have to, the amount of times, and you probably know this if you're a software developer, the amount of times you're walking around and you're not even there. Your head's in some other code. You're thinking about, why is that? Like I remember sitting there doing the dishes and like, I'm not even in the room. I'm thinking, that function should be working. Why is that function not working, right? It is connecting to the thing. It was working yesterday. What has changed since yesterday? It doesn't. Could it have been this? Could it have been this? Right? And it's usually at those moments where it comes to you thinking, it could have been a firewall. Maybe someone's been messing around with a firewall, right? Whatever, and it's that kind of stuff. And then you go, I hurry up and finish the dishes so I go back and check it, right? So we have different things in our heads and everything like that. So I definitely think I would go technology. But the rest of you guys, what would you do? Because I think it's important. Sales and marketing is important, but being somebody who could do sales and marketing only, but you don't have any value that you can provide other than that, you're relying on somebody to produce, right? You are a product or a service that you can sell or market, but you're specialist on that, right? It's the same as being if you're a typist and you don't know how to tell a story, right? It's like you're good at what you do, but you need somebody else in order to do it, right? Or if you're a developer and you can't have a good app idea, right? You're a tool of somebody else, right? And I think there's a symbiotic relationship. But if you could do, I like the idea of people who can do things. I do stuff, right? We build stuff. I love that. That's why I like being a software developer, right? We produce something out of nothing, right? Nothing existed here before, and then I started coding, and now everything's working, right? And that's the beauty of what we do. You guys may disagree. By the way, everything I say, you guys may disagree. So, let's see. Jay Matthew says, what would you suggest a company market or advertise for a new client work for someone who doesn't want a cold call? So, what would you suggest? A company market or advertise for a new client work? I think a company market. I would see. We're doing this. I'm getting more into the advertising side of things. I think it's again, I'm the one who doesn't want a cold call. Let me show one of the books from my bookshelf over here. Actually, I'll show you a bunch of these because I've read so many books on never cold call again, and this is like ages ago, and the title's what got me. And it talks about blogging and whatever and stuff like that. It's one, Fanatical Prospecting, which is all about cold calling. And basically it says in here, you can say everything you want about social media, but cold calling works far better and a far better close rate and whatever. So it's like, this convinced me, yeah, I need to do more cold calling, but then you get on the phone and I get stage fright because I don't want to do it either. I also got Successful Secrets of Selling on the Phone. I've read through this cover to cover at least twice, and I've never done anything with it, and I said this before, for me, cold calling is a lot like asking a girl on a date, right? It starts out okay, but once they figure out what's going on, it just, everything falls apart. And then the other one, cold calling techniques that really work. So I've got these books. I've read through these books, and I've got a bunch of Grant Cardone books over there. I got all this stuff on sales, but I still haven't. So I get what you mean, and I like the idea of advertising, so you get people in that way, so they can see the value. But one of the nice things about doing videos and putting stuff out there is everyone who finds Overpass is looking for what we have. They're looking for an app developer, right? I'm not going out there and saying, hey, do you need an app? Hey, you don't have to need an app, do you? Right? So it's so everyone who comes in does it, but we have to do enough stuff that we make a big enough splash that we get in front of enough people. So let's see. Hey Sam says, what platform do you use for the Secret Spy games? I think it was Corona for the games. For Android, I mean, what libraries or tools? Yeah, it's just the standard ones. So we're not using any for Android. We're not really using any of them, and I don't want to give too much away of how the code works. Hey, Sam. Honest Tomato says, really making apps is it profitable? Yeah, it is profitable, but it's not easy, right? It's you have to really work at it. So I would never say quit your job and do it, right? It's profitable like opening a shop is profitable, right? Like you can say, is opening a shop profitable? It can be. You have to pick the right shop and the right location and the right thing, you know. But there's so many people who've opened up retail that have shut down immediately because it's not as easy as it looks. I mean, and apps are not magic. They are what they are. So let's see. Abir Hassan says, Eric, YouTube is subscribe option for getting permanent viewers. What can we do for Play Store app users? Sorry about this, Abir. Hey, Eric, YouTube has a subscribe option to get permanent viewer. What can we do for Play Store app user to make them developer subscriber? I don't know. I think because once they download the app, they're kind of a subscriber, right? It's like there's not much more you can give them unless you release another app and they say, hey, this developer who you really like, maybe this developer who you really like was released a new app. But I would imagine they don't, like, we shouldn't release apps so often that they need to be notified. And if they're app users of one of our existing apps, we should be able to send out like a house ad or something like that to tell them. But yeah, I don't know of any way to do it. There's a message here from Fist007, which is hidden, which he said, you suck until you don't. All right, which was blocked because it looked like it was rude, but it's not. Let's see. Where was it? Christopher. Hey, Christopher Anugbo says, hey, Eric, can you review my iTunes app called Picture Split before/after? You can find it on Google Play by typing Picture Split app. Okay, so let's do this real quick. This is for Christopher. We're going to have a look at this. I'm going to share my screen again. Picture Split on iTunes. Here we go. Picture Splitter. Is it Picture Splitter? Sorry about this, Christopher. No, you said Picture Split. Cool. Is this the one, Christopher? Can you just comment here just to make sure I got the right one? It's kind of embarrassing when I look at the wrong app. So Picture Split. Nice. So is this it? New collage, over 50 million satisfied users. Is this it? Do you have over 50 million users? I might look at the wrong one. Christopher, let me know if, are you still around? Let's see, I just want to check to see if I'm doing the right one here. But in the meantime, let's answer the next question from B Smart. So yeah, from B Smart, it says, how much time you need to develop games for like Subway Surfers? I'm not, so if I was going to do a game like Subway Surfers, the first thing I would do, I mean, again, I would look at like Chupa Mobile or one of the other ones and see if there's any reskin code I could get, especially since it's there. But I would imagine, I don't know Subway Surfers too well. I don't know how many levels there are, or if it's an endless player game. But I would imagine that it shouldn't take too long, right? Once you get into, if you know exactly what you're doing and you're just like the sole developer on it, it shouldn't take that long to do. A lot of times, like if you get a company to do it for you, a lot of times it's going to be added by the fact that you just want to get your vision right, and they want to make sure that that they understand it. So like when we did a game for a client, it was a lot of going back and forth on the imagery. But if you're like the designer and the developer and everything like that, you should be okay, as long as you get the collision objects. So you get your game loop, you would have your collision objects, you would have your scores, everything like that, and it depends on how many levels and all this kind of stuff. I always think that game developers are indie developers are better as game developers than larger companies, because it's like writing a book. They could zig and zag, and they could just make changes on the fly. And if this seems a little bit harder, rather than going into a meeting and having a meeting with a client, and they say, we think level 3 is a little bit too difficult. Like I've had this where we think level 3 is a little bit too hard, but level 4 is too easy, which is like subjective terms. So you go with them, okay, what is it? How should we make it harder? How should we make it easier? And that kind of stuff. So let's see. We also have Connor says, would you ever use BuildBox? This is the second time somebody asked me about this before. Let me have a look at BuildBox, because I don't even know what it is. Let's have a look. I'll share my screen again. BuildBox. Okay, is this like Game Salad kind of thing? So we do for games. BuildBox. Is this like? Oh no, it's actually okay. Drag and drop wheel. I've never used it. Is it like we have, for a while we were looking at Game Salad, but I've not looked at this at all. So I mean, yeah, I would definitely consider it. I would look at so that my what I would be looking for here, Connor, was just to make sure that when the code gets exported, it's actually my code, and it's that I have full ownership of it and all that kind of stuff. The price. Let's look at the pricing here. Is it like an app builder type of thing? So 1 year BuildBox Pro subscription, year off, maximum worlds, maximum scenes. So should export. So if I export it, like, do I have to pay that every month? I think there's certain things I would look into, like is this like a hosting thing, or is it just a build thing? So if I was able to, say, spend 3 months on BuildBox, or a month on BuildBox, and pay whatever $300, and I put it on the App Store and it's there forever, then that would be worth it. But if it's like I have to pay that for every time, then yeah, it would. So for me, because I've learned the code, I think it would be. We did look at Game Salad for a while, because we have a designer that she didn't have much to do for a while, and she was looking into Game Salad, so learning that, but we never did anything with it. So which is, I don't know if it's the same or not. And again, for those guys who are BuildBox users out there, please let me know, because it's if it's totally different. But this was more of a, they changed it. Like a drag and drop type of thing, where you could drag and drop, and I don't even think you had any code there. Whatever. So yeah, Connor, I don't think it's bad. So all right, so best all-in-one app package says, he's got a link here. So best all-in-one app package. So your app is crashing. Is that what we're saying here? So let's have a look. Okay, cool. So you've got this, here's what you got, this nice frame here. So I'm having a look just at the app itself. Nice icon. Is that like a stock image, or is that something you've drawn yourself? And is it something you could use? And it's 18 megabytes. It links to other applications. Cool. I mean, what I'm saying is, you have these nice frames here. You might want to put some text on them. So, wait a second. You have EarSpy Pro. That's not mine. That's one of the That's one of the copycats. That's the copycat. That's the guy who's in the thing. So let's see. So yeah, there's yeah, I don't know why it would be crashing. Is that the question on this one? Let's see. Fist007 says he'd rather learn marketing skills. Robert Anderson. Robert, hey, how's it going? Hey, Eric, I enjoy your videos. Besides hi-fi, Robert, I answered one of your questions tomorrow's video. I do, when you were asking about whether or not design work would help lower the cost of development. So thank you very much for that question. Robert says, hi Eric, I enjoy your videos. Besides hi-fi prototype, digital asset spec sheet, what else could a non-coder provide a development company to defray costs? I can't answer this. So okay, this is, try to sound surprised to tomorrow's video. So it's a really good question. And for us, when somebody comes to us with all like wireframes and graphical assets and everything, it definitely does lower the cost of the project. Because a lot of times when we quote for a project, we're not just quoting on the amount of work to be done. We're trying to guess what needs to be done, and we're trying to deal with subjective things. So like the kind of stuff that gets us with scope creep is not so much I need this new feature, but it's like, oh, that doesn't look very professional. I don't know if that color is the right one for this button, or I don't know if that's it, and that kind of stuff. So we get that, and we don't have the, so we try to do the prototypes early on, just to say this is how we think it should look. So we go through all of that kind of stuff in the beginning. But when somebody comes to us and said, here's the designs I use, here's the assets, here's everything like that, it definitely lowers the cost of it. Also, if you go through and do the wireframes and just think about the flow of the application, so you can define that to the developer immediately. So like a lot of times, like a spec for me that I would get would be like a 2-page text document saying it should do this, it should do this, it should do this, it should do this. Never says like on the front page you should do this. So when I sit down, I go, okay, what does that look like? For me, I have to think, what's the user experience going to be like? And I'll sit down either with a pen and paper or a whiteboard, or if it's online, I'll do Balsamic if it's on the computer, and I'll just go through and say, okay, well, on our home page we'll have a button here, whatever. So actually, let's just do a Balsamic thing here so I can show you guys. I know I did a video about this, but this is the app I use probably most frequently. I'm just going to make sure that I don't have any client stuff on it before I show my screen. Okay, let me just do a. So what I spend a lot of time doing is opening up Balsamic. Now there are tools that are much better than this out there. There's like, this is like I bought, this is the desktop version, which I bought like nearly 10 years ago, but it's what I use for most stuff. So like if I was gonna do EarSpy, or like if I was gonna do Ear Agent, which is one of my apps, I would use something like this, and I would do like a label, and I would just put up here EarSpy, and then I would say, so I want to have this big circle down here, and that would just kind of, and then I would do a circle inside it and a circle inside it. So I would just kind of go that way, and then I'll have a button. So just kind of like, just think of a general layout. Now it's never, one of the nice things about these wireframe tools like this, because it doesn't, the client doesn't look at it and go, I don't know if I like that font, because it's obvious that it's not what it is, but say start or whatever. And I'll go through and I'll create start settings, right? So we'll just go through and do like just a quick demo. Like, okay, so this will be the first thing I see. I'll have like a login up here, or I'll do that. I'll do a flow chart that says, okay, the first thing I'll do is check to see if they're registered. So the first thing they'll see is a registration screen, which is never, I don't think it's a good practice. Like I always think you should show something besides just registration, but some apps do that. You can't show anything until they're logged in. So that kind of stuff, and just thinking about the flow of the application, like you're the creator of the app. And a lot of times when we get stuff, and it's not because they don't know, they just don't know, they have a requirement. They go, we have employees that need to be able to to log their time, something like that. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we have to think about that. You know, are they going to do it daily? Or going to do it monthly? And then think about the best user interface on that. Now, if you came in and said, okay, I also know with these what the actual asset, you know, you don't have to think about the icon or the design or the fonts or anything like that, then that would definitely help lower the cost of that. Definitely, Robert. So that's what I talk about tomorrow. So you guys can all skip tomorrow's video. I have like no views on it. So JC says, hey Eric, have you ever done a project using AI or considered it as a personal project using AI? I haven't, but so I guess, well, the speaker stuff is a little bit, but it's like I don't control that. I've done a little bit of research into TensorFlow, and like I did research into it thinking this is really cool, see how this works, TensorFlow and the actually TensorFlow is machine learning, but I guess Dialogflow is yeah, so artificial intelligence, maybe not. I think it's just the Dialogflow stuff that we've been doing so far, but not so much AI, I guess. I'm trying to think if TensorFlow, machine learning and AI, a lot of times I lump them in my head, but I think they're different. But the machine learning, I was learning a bit of TensorFlow, and then it got really, it was really easy, and then it got really hard, really fast. It was like all this math, and it just completely threw me. And I think, okay, I changed my answer about the 6 months. If I had 6 months I was able to freeze time and learn something, I would learn machine learning, right? And I would come back just like, it would be like in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey when they went into the future and did 16 months of intensive guitar training and came back. That would be what it was like. It's like, all of a sudden I'm a badass at machine learning overnight. Let's see. A CH Development says, words every developer used. It worked yesterday. It worked yesterday. It works on my machine. Let's see. JC says, here's a pictures. Oh, here's picture split. Sorry about that. So let's have a look at picture split, which is for Christopher. Okay, sorry. So I think he's left. I don't know if he's still around, but yeah, he says, can we have a look at that? It looks pretty good. Oh, cool. I would think I would just think annotate the screenshots. But you know, it's on iOS, so it's possible they won't allow it. I mean, they should. I've annotated screenshots all the time, but I would say, yeah, if somebody comes to this one, you've got 12 ratings. You know, I would say something to say, you know, take any picture, and you know, you'll be able to. Well, picture split is it before and after? So, you know, I would have something like, I would have a guy. Well, when I think of before and after, I think of weight loss and stuff like that. But I would have something there and just like some text above it, something, you know, just to, it kind of shows what it is. But you know, it's always good to have annotated screenshots. People aren't going to read the description as much as they're going to look at those screenshots. And you could have a video too, but on iOS putting a video is just, it's a pain. Let's see. Unity 3D says, hey, how's it going? Reskinning game like Subway Surfer would take a long time to do, right? You must need a team of developers. It depends on how much. If you're just reskinning it, yeah. I actually, you know what, the thing is Unity Game 3D. I don't know. I haven't played Subway Surfer. I have played Flappy Birds. I mean, well, Flappy Birds. So if it's an endless runner game, then you're talking probably like a few days, right? If it's, well, it depends. It's the design work. I think would take a long time. All the different, yeah, it depends on how much you do. But you're talking about having, but if you're having like several different levels and like that's what it would be. If it's something like the endless runner games where you don't have a map, you have everything scrolling from left to right or up to down or whatever, and everything's randomly placed, right? It's not, you don't have to go through and think about how each level looks like you do on some games. So we've done some games where we have to go through and we have this big long image of where all the obstacles are going to be placed because that's where they are. And then we have other ones where you're just endless runner, which is just like, you know, every 5 seconds display an object, right? And it keeps, or display an obstacle in the way. So it just constantly does it, and it keeps going, and you just keep track of the time or the amount of things hit and everything like that. So I haven't really played it, but it depends on how complicated it is, I guess. Aiden, oh, you're in London. Oh, cool. Next time you're in Westminster, let me know. Oh, is this yeah? What upcoming tech events are you interesting you? I usually go to Apps World, which I think is in December, and I didn't go was it last month? I haven't. Yeah, I usually get invited to them all the time, and I haven't done. I think we're gonna go to a call center one in March, which is not really. It's more to see if we can get some clients. I am terrible. Like I remember, I used to always go to these tech events, and I think I'm just gonna go out there with my business cards. I'm gonna network, and I don't talk to anybody. I just like once I get there, like, oh man, I don't want to do this, right? So, but I think we might do that for a call center one that's next month. But I haven't really looked at any of them lately. I don't know if I'm just not included on the list anymore or what. Unity Game 3D Game says, thanks for all the videos and high quality content. Keep up. Thanks. Thanks. You know, I have thought about maybe going like I was talking with somebody today, and they were saying the videos you should do more. I mean, everyone's saying you should do more tutorials. You should do more interesting topics and stuff. And in order for me to do that, I would need to spend more time on it, which means I couldn't do it daily. And every so often, I think maybe we shouldn't do it daily. Maybe we should do it every couple days. But it's nice just to be able to talk to you guys each day and just talk about how things are going and the progression of it. Because if you really need a tutorial, you can get a tutorial somewhere. I mean, I get them. Right? I don't need to do like the amount of people have asked me to do a tutorial on how to learn Android. I keep thinking there's so many tutorials out there on how to do it, and I know if I did one, I would get the guru Android guy saying, actually, you should probably name your variable this. Actually, if it were me, I would do this. Actually, you should do this. And I think I don't want that. I don't want to code in for somebody, right? So it's but that's something I appreciate what you said, Unity Game 3. I'm glad you like the content, because it's every day. They're not always good. So, but I just try to it's nice to be able to talk each day and more talk about growing the business and the app company and the problems we have with apps, and being able to share this kind of information is far more important to me than saying, hey, I want to teach you guys how to do something today. Today I want to teach you how to do something else. Although if I learn something new, I'll do that. Graham Ford says, hi, I make games and build boxes, very limited. Stick to Unity. Okay, cool. If you're not too good with code, consider using Unity plugin like Playmaker or Visual Scripting. I think not being good with code is a temporary issue. It's something you have to get over, right? I think it's not hard, but it might seem overwhelming, especially when you're starting, right? Anytime you start anything new, it's like this. It's like I'm not the kind of person who could code. And I remember thinking that, right? Thinking that's those guys over there, those really smart guys. But then you learn, right? You might. And there's still people who are just like master coders, and they're just like they're really really good at the code, but then they haven't branched out into other things. But they're the guys you want. If you were to put, there are some people that I've worked with over my career that if I was going to put together like my all-star team, that I would pick. Like I would get that guy for databases, and I would get that guy for the code, and I would get that for Microsoft. He would handle my stuff, but but then I think I'm a lot of times, I'm getting to the point now where I'm not coding every day. Well, I kind of am, but it's like, but not really. It's like a lot of other stuff. There's calls and talking to developers and help. I do a lot of troubleshooting. I do like a lot of stuff like we can't connect to the server. Why? We don't know. Okay, let me go check through the firewall. Check all this stuff. We've checked everything. Let me check again. There's a solution to this problem. And a lot of times they bring me in for that kind of stuff, the fun stuff. Let's see. The Unity game says build boxes for guys with no coding skills. I would suggest Unity with some knowledge in C#. Cool. Yeah, that sounds good. Jay Matthews says best all-in-one package is probably crashing because it's a copycat EarSpy app. Well, yeah. I can't believe you used the wrong EarSpy app. Oh, I got that guy. Oh, man. You know what? Part of me says I should report him, but it's like his name's not the same as mine. The icon is similar. It's not close enough that I'm really like. Sometimes it's just exactly like I've had people use the same icon, use the same description, use the same everything, but this one is similar, right? I changed the name, so I can't really complain about that. I can't say he's using the name I used to use. Like that's what. So but. I guess it's just one of those things. Like we'll see how it goes. I think that's it. That's it because I changed the name. I can't complain. I have no cause of defense. So, Abdo Hamdi says, "What's the best language for a website? Angular or what? That depends. It depends if you use the server side language or Angular's best language for a website. It depends on what kind of website you want to have. If you just want, for me, if I'm just going to do a website, I just need a website, I would go with WordPress, even though WordPress is old and it's got loads of issues with it, but it's been kept up a lot, and it's the easiest, like the most tutorials out there for it, and I just find it easier to use. I know other people use Wix or whatever those ones, but if you want something that's just display only, then that's fine. If you want something that's like dynamic, then yeah, I would go something like Angular, or if you actually want like a web application, I'll go like Angular, and I guess with Hummingbird you can do Flutter on that now, but I haven't actually seen that in practice yet. Hatham says, "Hey Eric, hey, how's it going? Let's see. Feel like an idiot every time I try to look into TensorFlow." Yeah, me too. TensorFlow was the one where I thought, you know what, I'm actually pretty good at coding. I'm pretty good with technology. And then I went into TensorFlow, and I was like, ooh, this must be where that computer science degree comes in handy. So all the power to them. But maybe it's one of those things where it's like a leap, like an intellectual. I can remember when interfaces and object-oriented program, like being a VB developer, I can remember object-oriented programming being really complicated for me. Like I couldn't get anybody to explain to me how to do it properly. And it was like you say, okay, so this is an object. And I go, is an object, is it a class? Is it a module? What is it? And they go, it could be anything. It could be anything. Think of a car. A car is an object. It has methods, drive, stop. It has properties, number of doors. I go, yeah, but is it like, what does it look? Is it a class? Is it a module? It could be a class. Think about a car. They kept saying, think about a car, right? And I remember this one trainer, he wouldn't, I don't even think he knew how to code. He just knew what object-oriented programming was. So, but it took me a long time. But once I saw somebody use it, I saw like, it was in ASP, and because I thought object-oriented programming is just like, it's overhyped, right? It sounds so stupid. It sounds so stupid now, right? Because everything's object-oriented. But I can remember thinking it was just a bunch of hype, because I was like, nobody would give me a straight answer, and I haven't seen it. And then I remember seeing a developer using it when I was working at BBC. Is an ASP developer, but he created ASP objects. So he's like, I instantiated the object, and so everything was working the same way. And it was like everything just became clear to me. It was like, oh wow, right? Like you could have a function that you could keep calling again and again. You have objects which you could keep instantiating, and just you could pass in a few parameters and have it use polymorphism, so it creates another thing, and then you could use dependency injection to pass in the functions that you need to it, so you have the whole container there, and that's when interfaces and everything started to click with me. It was like, oh, I see how this all works, but it took a long time. And maybe with TensorFlow that's the same thing too. It's like, one day I'll just get it, but maybe not. Let's see. Hatham says, Eric, I'm an indie developer. The question is, which is better, publishing my games under a normal indie name, or should I pick a professional studio name like thanks in advance? I've done a video on this. Should you use your company name or a personal name? Personally, I think using a company name is better. On Google Play, I think you can just put whatever name, because I have Overpass apps, superhuman apps and games, and I've changed it in the past. I think on iOS I have Overpass Limited, but I've had people say Apple will not allow you to use a personal name, or if you use a company name, you need to show them company registration. And I'm like, dude, I mean, it just like, if I was a rapper, I could give myself a name, right? If I was not doing anything as a creative endeavor, I should be able to say, okay, my name is Eric, but I'm going to be doing this as, Ruli Apps or whatever. I should be able to say that, right? I should. I don't need to have an official company name, right? But so I don't know about that, but it is on Apple. I haven't tried to change it on Apple. So let's see. CH Development says if I miss it. Let's see. CH Development says, okay. Oh, let's answering somebody else. Let's see. Alexander says, "What's up, gangster? What's up, gangster?" I love it when somebody calls me gangster. I can't get anybody like outside of the live stream to call me that. I'm like, get my kids to call me gangster. What's up, gangster? I think by the fact that I say it, it just immediately becomes uncool around the house. Let's see. Unity Game 3D says, talking about doing tutorial, I agree with you. There are a lot of YouTube and Udemy. We appreciate the fact that you are answering our questions live. That's enough. Cool. You know, I was so terrified about doing live streams like when I first started doing them last year, because I thought, you guys are going to ask questions I don't know the answers to. And you guys are always asking the questions I don't know the answers to, but I just say I don't know the answer. So I appreciate that you guys jump in there when you know the answer. Glenn Ferris says, "Hi Eric, really appreciate the content. You're inspiring a fellow developer." Cool. I'm glad about that. I think you guys all you guys all inspire me to do more stuff too. Chordfunk says Vue.js with Nuxt. So we have a project that we have a project we're doing on Vue.js, and it's pretty cool. I think I'm still old school where the whole transpiling thing I don't like. Like just every time, but I know it's more efficient. You minimize the code. It's everything. But I guess I'm one of those old school guys. I like to view source. Let's see, and I think that's it. We've answered all the questions. Chordfunk says you can on Google Play but not on App Store. Okay, so you can put your own name. You can put your stage name on Google Play, but not on App Store. Cool. Hatham says, thanks for your answer. The engine says, I love Vue.js. It lets you structure code easily. Cool. I mean, yeah, I haven't done the last, I think Angular was the last thing I've really done. And I know Vue.js is, I mean, our developers are using it and they really like it. So anyway, wow, 2 hours and 6 minutes. I don't know if this is the record or not, but we're close. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the live stream. I'm not going to thank you so much for all the questions. I am going to go get, what should I have tonight for dinner? Will it be pizza? Yeah, it'll probably be pizza again. And I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Thanks for joining me on the live stream this week. And have a fantastic, I'll talk to you guys. We'll do the live stream again next. Wait. We might not be able to do the live stream next week because I have to drive one of my kids to university and I don't know if I'll be back in time. So we may or may not do it next week. Friday, I try to keep Fridays open, but things come up. So we may not do it next week, but we'll try. But I will talk to you guys on tomorrow's live stream, on tomorrow's daily video, where I'll be answering Robert's question, which we've already answered here on the live stream. So anyway, have a fantastic weekend. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Taking this blindfold off to see what this life's all about. Through my virtues to